What's up, welcome back, Nostalgia. Dave here with a review of Nouvelle Vague, the new comedy drama film from Richard Linklater, out now on Netflix. Nouvelle Vague chronicles the filming of the 1960 film Breathless by Jean-Luc Godard when he was still a nascent filmmaker as part of the burgeoning French New Wave in the late 1950s in France. Now, of course, we know that is one of the most influential and essential film developments in the history of world cinema. But this story is taking us kind of to the beginning, back when a lot of people were still making their name. And this film premiered back at Cannes, from Richard Linklater, of course, one of our most celebrated and prolific filmmakers. Notable for a few reasons, though. Linklater's first film to be shot completely in France. It's also shot in black and light, 4:3 aspect ratio, very much kind of antithetical to awards pickup from Netflix. Honestly, it doesn't really make sense for their slate in terms of things they care about, especially. Ultimately, Richard Linklater's Nouvelle Vague is a nice hangout movie about Jean-Luc Godard creating Breathless in 1960. The film's chief concern of following Godard's process of not using a script, not following a schedule, seemingly turning off everyone involved with the production because his genius, his vision is impossible to grasp as it's being created in real time. It makes for a good hangout movie, and that's something Richard Linklater's pretty good at. Is there a greater comment really from this film? No, I don't think so, but it was an amusing time to go back to 1960 and watch this movie in black and white and spoken in French. You know, it was kind of a fun time. It's also really cool to see other famous luminaries of the French New Wave of that film period sprinkled throughout this movie. Agnes Varda, Francis Truffaut, Cabral, Jean-Pierre Melville, Zoey Deutch is playing Jean Seberg in the movie. If you're a film fan, it's cool to see all those things. It's also cool to see the handheld filmmaking techniques that Godard was using on Breathless. One of the trademarks of the French New Wave, of course, was those new styles, those new methodologies. Notably, though, Nouvelle Vague is shot pretty conventionally. It doesn't really look like a New Wave film by any means. It's more just about taking us into that world, however briefly. Zoey Deutch is the only actor that I know of in the movie because everyone else is a French actor. Deutch playing Seberg, I think pretty well. It definitely looks the part. She also speaks almost entirely in French as well in the movie, which sounded good to me as a non-French speaker. I liked her in the film. Guillaume Marbeck plays young Godard. I believe this is Godard at age 27, 28, something like that. Of course, the signature black sunglasses, always smoking a cigarette, but the kind of aloof, one of one in his own world type energy that Godard was expressing. I think he does a really good job at that. I also really quite enjoyed Mathieu Penchant as Raoul Cotard, who is the DP, the cameraman, the grip throughout the movie. This big tall guy. He has a lot of great facial expressions, kind of playing off Godard, seemingly realizing that something's really cooking, but even if he still really can't approximate and understand it. And there's some great scenes where you see the rest of the cast and crew hanging out when they're on set not working because they're waiting for Godard to give his instructions. I think those are some really good comedy moments. Also, I love the way that Jean Seberg's husband is played as a character, as someone a bit overbearing in terms of always kind of being present and how that works. There's also some quite funny dialogue from Godard and all his other contemporaries in the New Wave, such as Truffaut and Cabral, and the way they kind of talk about films and talk about criticism and things like that. So it's a chill vibe. It's notably come out just weeks after Richard Linklater's other movie, Blue Moon, with Ethan Hawke has come out. I think that's purely coincidence because they're from different distributors, but this is definitely a very different type of movie from Richard Linklater's previous Netflix film, which of course was Hitman, starring Glenn Powell last year. This is a lot more in the weeds, a lot less crowd pleasing, but for anyone who's down with a black and white movie that's not exactly littered with plot per se, it's a vibe for sure, and it's not something you see all that often in terms of what's on screen with Nouvelle Vague. So that's worth something. I do not expect this to be an Oscar contender from Netflix. Obviously, Frankenstein and Train Dreams are ahead in that mix. House of Dynamite's even probably ahead of this movie in terms of chances. So I'm not expecting much more to be remarked upon with the film following this release. It's also notably was not in the top 10 of Netflix. You had to really go search for it when it was released this past weekend, which I think says a lot about the type of movie this is. And again, I was a bit surprised that it was a Netflix pickup. Nonetheless, let me know, what did you think of Richard Linklater's Nouvelle Vague? What did you like most about the movie? Let me know. And for more movie reviews, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.